What's up, everybody? Welcome to 3D Rivals, your first line of defense against stupid movies. My name is DJ, and as always, I'm joined by my co host, my sister Devin,
What's up?
my brother Derek,
What's up?
and our friend Dan.
Howdy.
And this week, we're going to be talking about Ironheart, the new Disney Plus TV show in the Marvel Cinematic.
So this week
got
it's
'em.
it's
cinematic.
cinematic.
In the Marvel Cinematic
There you go.
universe.
Mhm.
Yes.
Cinematic has a silent M in it.
Yes. So this is picking up with Riri Williams after her adventure in Wakanda Forever,
Yes.
and so we're following the story of Riri.
Yes.
So I wasn't expecting the audiences to like this because when it was announced, everybody was hating, and Riri Williams is not a popular character in the comics either.
No, she's not.
Unlike Miles Morales, which
Mhm.
I think they came out around a similar time period. Are they made by the same writer?
I can give it a quick look.
I have
I'm
no
not
idea.
sure.
Y'all would know.
I'm not
I
sure.
don't think so.
But it was a kind of similar. I think within a few years of each other,
Mhm.
they came out. And Miles, super popular, especially now. Riri.
Well, I gotta say, like, I did a quick Google on her because I don't know nothing about her. And honestly, from what I was reading, she's not interesting. And I was hoping that maybe if I had like some comic book background knowledge added to it, that I'd be like, oh, okay, I get where they're coming from, or sort of maybe add something for me to make me like her.
Wait, so you're saying the character Riri is not interesting?
She's just not interesting.
Okay.
Yeah. I didn't find Riri Williams interesting from what I've read about her in the
Yeah.
past either. So it's kind of like,
Yeah.
we'll see what happens. We need an Iron Man replacement. I would
Do
have
we,
rather
though?
they did a.
That's what I understand. Like, do we though?
No, I guess we don't. But I would have
Is,
rather
is that the
made-
role she's supposed to be taking? Like just
Yeah.
a Iron
In the
Man
comic
replacement?
books, kind of.
Yeah, no, Iron Man came back, so
Yeah.
Well, that's what
Came
I'm
back
saying.
really
Like, so
quick.
we lost our
think-
guy in an iron suit, so we're gonna replace it with someone else in an iron suit.
I
We
kind of feel
don't-
like that's the downfall with the MCU.
we don't need that replacement.
Yeah, I don't think you
well, I
need
mean,
to
that's
replace
just
Iron Man.
comics in general. I mean,
Okay.
Batman goes away, Batman gets replaced.
Batman is different than Iron Man, though. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah,
Batman is
because
different.
Yeah,
he's
Batman's
replaced by
different.
established characters already.
Yeah, and then it's like, yeah, like Batman. You're like, I kind of want another Batman. I don't need another Iron Man.
Yeah.
Those
Yeah,
are
not-
two
not after
different
that
things.
one, yeah.
You were spot on, DJ.
Michael Bendis.
Yes.
Boom.
He
What,
did
John
both.
Jacobs ain't gonna have a replacement?
But Miles,
Right? That's what it sounded like to
I
me.
heard.
but Miles Morales came out in 2011. Riri Williams came out 2016.
By the same person.
16.
but
oh, okay. I
same-
thought they were closer
Same
together.
writer, same creator.
So something
Miles
fell
was-
off in that 5 years.
Yeah, Miles was done much better.
I mean, Miles Morales is Spider-Man, so
Well, yeah,
It's-
everybody loves Spider-Man except for
Yeah, but
Devin.
I feel
Oh,
like
yeah,
there
of
were
course.
other tried replacements to Spider-Man that didn't work.
That's
I
true.
mean, you had the clone, and you got multiple Spider Women, Spider Girl.
the
That's true.
which we
Scarlet
are in full
Spider,
support of.
Scarlet Spider.
And then Scarlet Spider is supposed to be the actual
Yeah.
real Spider-Man.
I'm just saying. Just in case I need to be said.
I don't think we were implying we weren't.
Yeah, you know, there's people out there that think, like, oh, he said that with a tone. I'm like, no, he didn't.
No, yeah, it's fine. Okay, so Riri Williams. So honestly, going into this, I guess we don't have much hopes for this show, and they had the first 3 episodes.
Mhm.
Now, I think my biggest gripe with
Mhm.
this show is some of the writing, and I don't think
Mhm.
like not bad writing,
Mhm.
but character motivations make no sense to me in this show. Which to me, and I know some people will say like, "Oh, that's a small thing" or whatever, but I'm like, the whole show is built around these motivations, and to me, like, I can't get with it because none of it makes sense. And I'm gonna start with Riri. So Riri, as shown in the show, has this obsession with making an Iron Man armor to a point where she gets herself kicked out of MIT. And she has to do it, so she needs money, not to take care of her family, not because she's got a sick parent in the hospital,
Mhm.
not because she needs to pay for an education in another university or something.
It's just for this Iron
Because
Man
she
suit.
needs to make this Iron Man suit.
Now that is based off her character in the comic.
Sort of, kind of.
Yeah.
So
I feel like it's still a stupid reason.
So here's my thing. I felt like the show is trying to do a real woe is me storyline with her.
There's no woe
Right.
with her.
No.
Well,
I mean, besides
I feel
her
like there is, but they
friend
didn't really
well,
attack
yeah,
dying
that
in a
aspect of
drive-by,
it.
her friend and
Which-
stepfather, that was the woe is me.
which happened in the comic book. Here's what I'm thinking: is one, I felt like that because that was 5 years ago in the show that happened 5 years ago. It would be more impactful if it was something that had just happened. Like
Mhm.
if it had happened between the time of her being in Wakanda Forever and this
Mhm.
show coming out. The fact that it was 5 years ago, sort of. I mean, I'm not gonna say like you should be over it by now. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is for her acting out and this obsession that she has, her father and her best friend dying would be more impactful if it happened after Wakanda Forever, because then she was kidnapped, she went through a traumatic experience, and then she lost her family.
Mhm.
That would make more sense. And then I feel like on top of that, they're trying to push this like woe was me storyline. I'm from a disadvantaged area, all of this and college and all this. Just like I could be the greatest adventure. I don't have the resources. And I'm like, you were at MIT. You
Yeah.
had all of the resources you need.
Yeah.
Your problems is your own doing.
Yeah.
And to me, one, I feel like there is a lot of bad dialogue in here. And
Very.
she's unlikable. I
Yeah, she's
cannot
not a
get
likable
behind
person.
anything
Yeah.
that she's doing.
Yeah.
Not a likable person. And
Yeah.
I would say, like, unlike like Captain Marvel, at least in the first movie, who's still unlikable, but that's her character,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
And you can go like, that's her character. She is an unlikable person. I actually hope it continues that she's unlikable, because then we get Civil War 2.
Mhm.
But Riri, I'm like, do I fall behind you? I don't. One, you easily went to, okay, let me do crimes. You
Yeah.
didn't even know, like, it turns out their crimes is like sticking it to, rich
Mhm.
people, which people usually can fall behind or
Mhm.
whatever.
Mhm.
But you
But she
didn't know
has
that.
no reason,
She
and she
had-
didn't know.
Yeah, she didn't know that. She just was like, well, yeah, I need money, so let me go ahead and do
Yeah.
these crimes. That, again, you weren't a person that were super down. Like, it doesn't seem like they're struggling. I know they're in Chicago or whatever, but like,
Yeah.
they're not struggling.
No, the
Yeah.
family, like they
It
may not
seems-
have a lot, but they're happy. They seem to be
They're
getting
fine.
by.
They seem
like,
to eat every day.
yeah,
Her mom
Lights
seems
are on.
healthy.
yeah,
Like I
yeah.
said, it's not like her mom's losing a job or somebody's in the hospital.
She
or
seems to be
they're
dealing
about
with
to
the
lose
loss
their
of her husband. Well,
house. Yeah. Like there's nothing happening that tells me this person needs to get pushed to
A life of crime.
doing crime.
yeah, it doesn't make any
Yeah.
sense.
I was like a hero that's more believable that it didn't go that route. But like Spider-Man, like is Spider-Man starting out like how his life was? Like it would be believable if he decided to go into a
Well,
life
it's
of
just
crime.
Marvel Spider-Man
Yeah.
at any point in his life, because nothing
'cause-
can go right for Spider-Man.
nothing went right for Spider-Man.
Yeah,
like, it
but
was
I'm
just,
gonna be like you said.
Yeah, but that's believable.
But no,
Yeah.
Her case.
okay, I'm gonna give you a parallel
Mhm.
with an MCU movie, so not just comics.
Okay.
Ant-Man, Scott Lang.
Mhm.
Okay, for whatever reason he did the first crime, it was because people were getting ripped off. Okay, whatever.
Mhm.
He goes back to crime in the movie because as much as he tried to do the right thing, his wife, the jobs he got would not give him a break. And then it was just like, I want to be there for my daughter, and I can't do it without money, and I can't get money right now, so
Mhm.
I'm gonna do this.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where's that for Riri Williams?
There
Nah,
isn't.
She
She
jumped.
wants money to make an Iron Man suit.
Yeah, she jumped, head into being into a crime syndicate, which just doesn't make any sense. And I feel like they did this because they wanted to shoehorn the hood into this story.
Right.
Because
Mhm.
he is a criminal in the comics. He has
Yes.
his whole crime syndicate in the comics.
Yes.
So in order for him to be in the story, it's like, well, why? You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
you had to shoehorn her into his story.
Mm-hmm.
But then it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't fit the character that you put out in front of us. She just decided, like, yeah, I'll commit some crimes. Yeah, I'll just go rip off billionaires and millionaires. I'm sorry. Let's start off with baby crimes
Yeah.
and work our way up.
And I feel like that has been not just within this phase, but an issue throughout the MCU of having really good villains, but they don't fit the tone or match the story for the hero.
Well, I got problems with the Hood's motivation too. So once
I know.
get
I'm
to
gonna say I'm
him-
not even sure the Hood's a good villain.
Yeah,
but
I'm not even. Yeah.
Yeah.
But okay, so we talked about that. So her motivation in this entire, even her AI best friend was an accident,
mhm.
which to me throws it off. I can see if she was really trying to do it because she missed a friend. I think that's actually a better story beat, but it was an accident. But anyway, her entire motivation for these entire 3 episodes is to build an Iron Man suit. And I'm like, why is this so important? Everybody keeps asking her that in the show because it makes sense. Why are you getting kicked out of MIT to build an Iron Man suit? And it turns out because her stepfather was a fan of Iron Man, that's why.
Well,
It wasn't even that he was trying to build an Iron Man suit and he just couldn't finish it or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
He was an Iron Man fan. That's what it came down to. That's what it said when she finally revealed why she was so obsessed with it. Her stepfather was an Iron Man fan. Okay.
yeah, but see, I got a problem with that too. Not only for that dumb logic on why you're doing what you're doing,
Mm-hmm.
is that she didn't downplay the impact that Tony Stark had.
Yeah.
Because she was like, basically, he was only doing what he's doing because of the wealth he had, which is like not true. And everyone by now knows that's not true because everyone follows the whole saga of the Avengers.
Yeah.
The whole
And he
world
also
lived it.
died.
And
order
he
to bring
died
half
saving the
planet
world.
back.
Yeah.
So for you, and I don't even know why the MCU would even allow this to be written, for you to even come across and say like, well, he did nothing important, only thing special about him was that he was rich, it's not even true. First of all, he built his first Iron Man suit in a cave.
In a cave.
With a box of
With a
scraps.
box of scraps.
Exactly. So
I'm
now,
not Tony
I
Stark.
don't know if it's the MCU's fault or whatever. You're just undercutting the whole thing that you built up, which is just absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, also, I get the comparison that it was easier for him to build it because he had billions and
But that's
it's
not what she
more
said,
difficult.
though.
I know, that's not what she said.
And then let's not forget she had a scholarship at MIT.
With a
Yeah.
Stark grant.
Yeah.
Meaning
Right.
she
You
could have done
you
anything.
blew your chance. You had everything you needed.
Mhm.
I mean, MIT had everything you needed. You blew that.
Also,
So you can't talk about he had advantages. You had those advantages.
Also,
Yeah.
I think in that line, it was either that line or a different scene. She kind of downplayed Tony Stark's intelligence,
Yeah.
trying to say maybe that she's smarter.
Yeah.
And before a certain crowd on the internet starts cheering and stuff, I'm not saying this because she's a woman. However, she's not as smart as Tony Stark. Clearly, Tony Stark made an arc reactor in a cave.
Mm-hmm.
Her suit doesn't have an arc reactor. I'm sorry, if he can miniaturize a fusion reactor
Yeah.
to be put into a suit or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
he's smarter than you.
Well, especially since she had all of the tools and couldn't make the suit.
Yeah.
So yeah, that and like I'm glad you brought that up. They keep telling us how smart she is, but have we really seen her doing anything intelligent?
Besides build a suit and the random, like making an
accident
AI.
AI.
I would say
From a brain
borderline because like
scan?
this suit has been made already. It's
That's
not like you're
made
breaking
already.
ground.
Right.
Like
That's
your
what
suit
I'm
has been made
saying.
already.
Like,
Well, no, she made an AI from a brain scan. That's pretty
By
okay,
mistake?
but we didn't. But what did we really see though? We saw her fall asleep.
Fall asleep, and then she woke up, and then there was this.
Exactly.
Then there's
Yeah.
Natalie.
So again,
So
I don't see her brilliance. I see a lot
I
of. Dumb
feel like that was a
decisions.
mistake. And like when you do something by mistake and you don't know how you did it, it doesn't really make you a genius.
Yeah.
extremely dumb decisions. And I think she's, well, is she supposed to be 19 here?
No, but you're an
she's
adult.
dumb.
You're an adult. I don't want
19
no
or
excuses. You're an adult.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like for Iron Man story, like I forgot what the guy's name was in Idiot that saved his life basically
Jensen.
because all that yeah
Mhm.
okay. So he was the one that connected that battery and with that magnet to keep that shrapnel from going into his
Mhm.
heart.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Tony Stark came up with the arc reactor to basically do the
Yeah.
same thing.
Mhm.
You're like, all right, so he took this concept and he was like, all right, I would need to miniaturize this, like you said, something that's more so sustainable
Mm-hmm.
to keep this shrapnel out of my heart. I don't really see
No.
really doing anything like close to that. Like
Yeah, I think that scene in the elevator was supposed to show her resourcefulness in a similar way, but no,
but that's
No.
an,
no,
No, that
Nope.
didn't play either.
that's like
yeah.
first of all, nothing. Well, I guess it was life threatening with the gas and everything,
Yeah,
but it's not really the same. Like
It's not the
at
same.
all. No.
this is an arc reactor. Like you can power the entire
Yeah.
that entire building that he powered with that arc reactor.
Mm.
They're like, this is an arc reactor. This is like
Yeah.
literally life changing.
Yeah.
yeah.
Like what you did
It
wasn't
made it
life
safe.
changing.
Well, that
Yeah.
and her solution to me wasn't impressive.
No.
You
No.
put the blanket over to dampen the smoke. You what? Hot wire the elevator
She
door?
hotwired the
Yeah,
elevator.
hot wire
And
the
they-
elevator door.
and
That's
they
not
did-
special?
They reacted as if she did something super intelligent, but she actually took the easier way out. Which, I mean, if you're gonna die, yes, to take the easier
Right.
way.
Yeah, that's smarter.
But
It wasn't.
her intelligence would have been that she actually got down there and broke into the box, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
That would have been
Yeah.
the intelligent thing, showing how smart she is to get into that.
But wouldn't that also have been stupid because it's faster for her to do what she did?
Well, that
Wouldn't that have
I
been
mean,
faster?
You
I
talking
mean,
about?
no, she should have done what she did. Like, you could
Maybe,
do the
no.
faster thing.
I'd say hacking it is faster because I'm sorry, she doesn't open the elevator door.
Oh yeah, she's not strong.
Yeah, she probably not strong. Yeah, I'm like, I don't think she's that strong.
Like-
I was like,
Yeah.
I
I'm
don't
like,
think
you
she's
know
that
how
strong.
You can't open.
heavy those elevator doors is.
Dude, you're not just gonna open the elevator door.
Yeah, you're probably not gonna do that.
No.
No. So
That's what I was wondering. I'm like, okay.
So
How-
I'm
how
not sure
strong
if
is
that
she?
was the smartest. Well, never mind, because she wasn't gonna win that fight either. Just ridiculous. At the end when she was fighting John,
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm like, girl, get out
okay.
of
Yeah,
here.
no, that
Or
was
then when she stepped up to me like, what you gonna do? I'm like, he's going to kill you.
yeah, I'm like, what,
Yeah,
do you mean? What's he gonna do?
What do you
Yeah.
mean?
She
like
does not be.
like now
She's from
it's
Chicago
she
though.
does
She's from
not.
Chicago though. They're tough.
Okay,
people.
No.
They're a tough. people.
Look, there is time. Look, a tough person knows when this is not a fight. I win.
Not against
a smart person knows what route to take when you're overpowered.
Exactly. Yeah, you be like,
And
look,
she's clearly overpowered.
look.
Mhm.
If I'm
Like this guy slammed
overpowered-
another girl's head into the table when
Yeah.
she snatches his hood out the vault
Yeah.
Mm.
or whatever. It's like obviously he don't care that you're a woman.
Exactly. You
So,
don't care. And you
you know.
stepped up like, what you gonna do? I'm like,
Yeah, it's like he's pretty good with
knives.
knives, so he's probably gonna cut
Mhm.
you up pretty good.
Yeah,
I'd
just
imagine.
dumb.
Like
I'm-
a smart
I'm
person
like-
would have known.
I'm gonna get to that whole
Exactly.
scene in the
Yeah,
last
it's on my
episode.
nitpicks, but we can talk
There's
about
a lot there.
We can talk
Also,
about it.
it speaks a lot about her character, but we're not on her character yet.
Oh,
We're
okay.
just talking about her motivations and how stupid it is.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Also, not that smart. Apparently, her Iron Man suit runs on wind and solar, which I'm like, impossible.
I was thinking like,
Impossible.
first
If
of
you
all-
can't make an arc reactor, you can't have a suit. You can't. You cannot do that. There's no way.
Nothing's
made
really
that my
like
nitpick,
self-sustaining
so
and
it's
like you know
no.
how much power that thing takes.
how exactly?
Like,
It took an
it's-
arc reactor to run, and
to
you're
run
running
that
it
thing.
on
That is
solar
the reason
and wind.
why there is no Iron Man suit for real. Like building an exosuit isn't impossible. They can do that today.
Mhm.
You can't power it.
Yeah, you can't power
No.
it. With as much power, like even just the thrusters alone.
Yeah.
It was a
As
runs
much
gas.
power that yeah, I'm like, how much
Yeah.
power that would take? Like, come on, man.
Was that? And I was just
And
like,
you won't be able to move in it.
I don't see no
No.
wind or
No.
solar power options on that suit. You just making up
No,
stuff.
it came down in one of those episodes with these like solar wings.
Get out of here.
Which
Not
those
nearly
panels
enough.
aren't big enough.
Not
to
nearly enough.
provide any
You know,
power.
you see a building that's powered by solar?
Yeah, there's a
A
lot.
whole field
Yeah.
to power
Yeah,
one
an
building.
entire field. Like in Indiana, as soon as you cross a Ohio line on I-70, you see an entire field
An entire field.
of solar panels. It's like, man, I wonder where that's powering a sprinkler.
Probably.
Probably.
Now, solar has
Probably.
come a long way, but
But we still need an entire field of them.
Yeah. Also,
Now, if you can take that and amplify it somehow, it's like, okay,
Mhm.
sure. But
also wind.
She's not
I'm
doing it.
guessing if
Look,
there's batteries on board that gets the wind, because otherwise, how? Or
I
you're
don't-
saying those fans on the side of is providing wind power? Because again, that's providing
No.
little to no.
nothing.
like, you know how big a windmill is?
Exactly. And it
Yeah.
provides little to no power.
It doesn't,
For
it
her to
doesn't
power
do a
that
whole
suit,
lot.
She needs to stand in the middle of a tornado like Twister. to power her suit.
She's like, what are you talking about? Like, dude,
Yeah.
those big old fans to power a light bulb.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's powering us.
And she got them little
It has to
fans.
be motorized because you can't move in it otherwise,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
We seen it several times. Steve Rogers broke the arc reactor in Tony's suit. He could barely move in it because it's heavy. So you need those. So it's got to power the motors. You have a full computer running an AI in it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
A very sophisticated AI apparently too.
It's
Yeah.
funny how
That you're projecting.
Yeah, you're projecting.
and
Yeah.
and that's where I go. Writing is bad here because it's funny how this show it makes the whole Iron Man concept so unbelievable. When the first movie, I didn't even doubt for a second that any of that would have worked.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's kind of like Jurassic Park, where you're like, it's fake science,
Yeah.
but you make it so believable. But like, yeah, they can do that.
Yeah,
I can see that. Oh,
Yeah,
they did it with the frog, DNA. That's how they completed the chain.
Because it's a
And
reptile.
now these dinosaurs can reproduce without having to hump it up because
Yeah.
some frogs reproduce with asexual.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it was
Okay,
like
I
it was
get it.
fake science, but it was believable fake science. And then even with the Iron Man, right? You saw him building the suit. So everything he did it was made believable because you saw him working on it and putting the effort in. And you were like, okay, yeah.
Mhm.
And then you figured
And
the first
then-
concept, right? It wasn't great.
Yeah, it wasn't great, but like even that suit that he had was very heavy for one
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
He could not
He could
move
barely
fast
move.
in it. He could barely fly. Even when he did fly, it was kind of like a one-shot thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even the weapons he fired, they were a one-shot thing.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, yeah, I would imagine he'd be able to make this inside of a cave, and then he, obviously perfected it later.
Yeah, but even then you take Obadiah Stane, right? He had all the information. His suit
And
was
he
only
could- his suit,
slightly
yeah.
better than the one made in the cave, and he's another person who's fairly intelligent.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And he had a team of engineers
Yeah.
That
building
were
this suit.
also intelligent.
They were also intelligent,
Yeah.
and still that's what they came up with.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hey,
so-
because they made an arc reactor.
Yeah,
that's
they
not
made-
small
yeah.
enough.
Yeah,
To fit in
they
the
need to
suit.
fit it in the suit. Tony Stark built this in a cave for a box of scraps.
Yeah, so
Well, I'm
it's like
sorry. I'm
nothing
not
she's
Tony Stark.
doing is believable.
No.
It's just you're just like that's some nonsense, especially since again, like we never really see her do anything spectacular.
Yeah.
Right.
It just happens. The guy's like, I need a suit by tomorrow. I'm gonna get on it, and now she's building a suit by tomorrow. You spend 4 years at MIT not building the suit.
Mm-hmm.
Now you can get it ready to go for your heist the next day.
You also went to Wakanda,
Yeah.
where I'm sure you learned a lot.
Supposedly.
Supposedly.
Yeah, she built
But
the suit in the day there, but I guess it was Wakanda.
it's Wakanda.
You didn't
though.
borrow none of that
they got
information.
technology there that obviously
Yeah.
you can do that. So that would have been believable. But
Yeah.
you don't have that Wakanda technology here.
Nah.
You just have you
Mhm.
and basic electronics.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Siri ain't about to do it.
So, and then so AI. All right, we touched on the fact that she mistakenly did it. She was I guess she was trying to make herself an AI, or
Who knows? They
she was
didn't tell
trying to
us.
use her memories of Griot from Wakanda
Mm-hmm.
to remake an AI. I don't know. Why didn't she just code an AI? What was with the brain scan thing?
Well, that was dumb, but like, how
You
was
could
you
just
falling?
code. She could just code. Well, if you were smart, if she was intelligent, she would be able to just code the AI, right?
But if she was gonna use a brain scan, how was falling asleep gonna make that work?
I don't know.
I don't think she meant to fall asleep. I
Well,
think
no,
she
what
just
I'm
fell
saying
asleep.
is like, if you saying my brain scan is gonna make something that I experienced 4 years ago happen, I feel like I need to actively be thinking about the thing that happened 4 years ago.
Well, I feel like like when you fall asleep, your brain starts to put things together that you don't really get to have control
Well, you
over.
have. I'm saying you
And
have
I-
no control over what you think about.
That's what I assume would happen because she wasn't trying to make Natalie.
No,
You know what I'm saying?
agreed. Yeah.
So I feel like she fell asleep. Obviously, Natalie is heavy on her head because that was her best friend and everything.
Yeah.
And maybe this funneled into her where it wasn't supposed to, and that's why Natalie came out.
I
No, I
agree.
get that. I think that's exactly what
That,
happened.
but
I-
my
what
question
I'm-
is, if you were trying to make Griot, I feel like I need to be thinking about that.
Yeah.
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 Because otherwise, you're doing a general brain scan. who knows
Yeah.
what your brain is picking up?
And when you
Yeah.
fall asleep, like
And I
it
mean,
definitely,
you
who
definitely
knows
don't
what
have
your
no
brain
control
is
of when you
picking up.
fall asleep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you have no. That's why you having them weird dreams. Like you never
Yeah.
know what your brain's gonna call up
Yeah.
like while you sleeping. So like yeah, her falling asleep definitely is what screwed the pooch. Cause
Mhm.
I'm not
Who knows?
sure if it was gonna work from the very beginning because it just feels
Again-
like felt logic.
I'm like, if you're smart enough to make a program that can scan your brain, you should be smart enough to
To
just
code it?
code an AI. I mean, Jarvis was a pretty good AI.
Yeah.
Tony just coded it, right?
Yeah.
so was Friday.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
That's a good point.
like, you could have just made an AI.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's how Griot was made. I'm pretty sure Shuri wasn't scanning people's brains.
It was just an AI. And then the other thing, when she was talking to her friend, he said like that'll scramble your brain or something if you do it. And she's like, "Oh, I did it." And I was just like, it'd have been great because remember she asked him like what would happen, and he said it would scramble
Oh.
your brain. It'd have been
Okay.
great if we knew about that risk, which really wasn't a risk beforehand. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Hmm.
Because
Past
now, because now it has zero impact because you did it. Nothing bad. We didn't even know there was something bad could happen to you.
Right.
Then nothing bad did happen to you, and then you end up creating something you had no intentions of even creating.
Mhm.
Just pointless.
Also, she pulled that power from her house.
Yeah, the whole
Man.
power
Yeah,
went out,
like-
and we not asking no questions.
Yeah.
You're in an apartment.
I'm like, was nobody else
For 4
there?
hours.
Yeah,
Nobody else
yeah.
said anything about all this?
And she lived with her mama and her aunt.
Yeah,
When
like,
nobody in the house,
nobody
and
else
no one
was there?
came home.
Yeah, I was like, okay.
Nah.
Mm.
Mm-mm.
All right. So the AI is her friend.
Mm-hmm.
Why does Natalie remember everything? Why does Natalie have Natalie's motivations? I don't get it. Because if she's built from her memories of Natalie, then she shouldn't be exactly like Natalie. I'm sorry if Dan, if I'm remembering Dan as well as I know him, it's not going to be exactly him, right?
Right.
Yeah.
He will be
Sorry, I
based off
forgot it
your
was Dan for a
memories
second.
of him.
But,
Yeah, based
but
off of-
okay.
You know,
So,
I might get his personality pretty close.
Okay, so AI is supposedly intuitive, and I know I'm probably reaching,
Mm-hmm.
but AI is supposedly intuitive. So could it possibly be that that they're trying to say that AI used her memories and it was able to like intuitively create this Natalie, basically? But like even her mom said, like, "Hey, it's got Natalie's mannerisms and this, that, and the other." I'm like, you just
And
basically
I
freaking
would
Natalie.
believe if it got mannerisms and things like that, but it seems
Yeah.
like
But like it remembered where
Oh.
the shop was,
Yeah.
but also Riri remembers where the shop was.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But she froze up when that
The
dude
gun.
pointed a gun at her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, like only literally Natalie
You're right.
would have froze up like that, because like that would have been
That's her
Natalie's
trauma.
Yeah,
reaction.
yeah.
So like
That's
yeah,
her
like how
trauma.
did the AI freeze up because Natalie wasn't frozen up?
Also, why is my AI freezing?
Yeah, why is the AI freezing?
Yeah, my
Yeah.
AI should not be afraid.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, that's kind of odd. It's
Also,
AI.
It's motivations to do things like, oh, I've got to get out of here and I got to do this and I've got to do that and I want to do this, and his motivation seems like it's built the way that Natalie will want to do things,
Right.
Mm.
and Riri wouldn't know that.
No.
Riri, that's something Riri wouldn't know.
Right.
Right, you can remember their personality and their mannerisms and how they talked and things you guys did together, but guess what? How they think,
You're not
you
gonna get.
don't know.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. You're not gonna get Dan's motivation on why he does certain things.
But I don't know.
because
Don't
you
you
don't
know?
have that.
Like, don't you know your best friend?
Y-
No.
You
You do,
No.
You
but
do
you
to
don't
an
know
extent.
everything about a person.
Well, that's my fault, but no.
No, I mean you don't know everything about a person.
yeah.
No, I'm not
you don't.
saying that, but I
You-
feel like
Like based off what you see,
right.
that's what you know. But like
True.
as far as like anything deeper than that, no, you don't know. But for an AI to be able to like pull that out,
No. you would
No,
wouldn't be able
unless
to.
unless Riri knew, and Riri herself was surprised by a lot of the things that the AI did. So unless Riri knew, the AI shouldn't have known.
Also, why isn't it operating as an AI? I'm confused that it came out the gate mind of its own.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Like Jarvis, as snarky as it is, was an AI system that did work for Tony. Natalie is
Okay,
a person.
what about Ultron?
Like,
What about Ultron? Because Ultron kind of came out the gate with a mind of
but
his
they
own.
explained that because they made it from the Mind Stone and whatever.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay.
Yeah, that was on. But even then, like if you take the comic book version, and when I say comic book version, the cartoon version, because it's the only version I know, it didn't start off with a mind of its own. It had to develop that. So
Yeah,
even with
Ultron,
Ultron, no.
Yeah. And I'm like, why is Natalie is a person, right?
Mhm.
She's a character in the story. She's a person that is sometimes working against Riri, which I don't get. And she just mistakenly makes this whole thing. And I don't know. That's what I'm saying is with the writing, because I feel like they just want to have Natalie there in the story.
Well, Natalie is a part of her AI in the comics. I didn't read to see how detailed she is or whatever, but she is there.
Well, it could have worked if they would have did it like
I mean,
more so
Tony Stark was
realistically,
also
but
Riri Williams' AI.
Okay, I didn't know that. But I do know Natalie. Don't ask me about all the other stuff. I do know her AI is Natalie.
yeah, I feel like it could have worked if they would have did it like more realistically. Like, all right, you
Agreed.
bring back a Natalie, okay, it looks like Natalie, but it doesn't know everything Natalie
Or
knows.
if
But like
you-
in interacting with Riri, it starts
Mhm.
to develop and like learn these
Or if
things
you
about
had it
Natalie.
like, oh, it used her brain scan and all of Natalie's social media and all of this and every bit of information.
Yeah,
it
like
could've
Ultron did.
pulled-
Ultron was scanning
Yeah.
the internet and learning things and stuff like that,
Yeah.
and then he would develop. Like
Yeah.
Natalie
And that's
could have did
when
that too.
he actually came out and
Mhm.
attacked the Avengers.
Yeah.
It was everything he saw
Mm-hmm.
on the computer through
So
the internet.
if you
Mhm.
told me that happened and that created a very close Natalie, I would feel like that's more believable.
Mhm.
But in order to do that, you would have had to have had it been purposely built by Riri
True,
Mhm.
I would agree.
instead of a mistake.
Yeah, I don't think she was a mistake. I think Tony helped her build it
Yeah.
in the comics.
Which I
Which
figured,
would
I
make
thought they
sense.
would have had her purpose build her. I was surprised they went the route they did.
Yeah, it's a very interesting take that they went on.
So I personally just didn't like it. It feels weird. But okay. It might be me. Maybe that whole big thing is a nitpick. I don't know.
I mean, no, I mean, I agree with you, but kind of disagree because I feel like you know your best friend,
Okay.
so you know pretty much what they want in life, what their motivations are.
Do you know your best friend?
I mean, I think you know them well enough. Yeah.
Huh. I know my
But
best
I
friend.
don't know if it
Do
would
you?
recreate
Yes.
them exactly. I feel
No,
like
I'm
the
not gonna
things
say-
they do would be what you have witnessed them do, right?
Mhm.
How they responded in the way you have witnessed things.
That's all you go off of. 'Cause like outside of that, it's just imagination. But like what you've seen with your own eyes, like yeah, that will be like burned into your brain. So like
Well,
the
then
AI would pull from
Even
that.
if I know my friend and how they might react to some things, I don't know what causes some of their motivations, which could change how they react in different situations.
That is true.
Yeah.
That is very true. Human motivation is I think will always be unknown.
I think
'Cause,
you
like,
guys need to be closer to your friends.
I mean, like, well, honestly, like I said, human motivation is something that's going to always be like a mystery because, like, I can't necessarily say why Derek reacted the way he did or why Darren reacted the way he did. It could be different on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like he could be like to the boiling point on that day, and something happened and he react like kind of off the wall. Like, man, why did he do that? It might not have anything to do with like any type of trauma. It might just be that day. Hey, this week has been crazy. This day was my boiling point. This is why I
Mhm.
popped off. I have really no way of knowing that unless I
You
was
don't,
with
but
him
you
throughout
don't know
that
if
day.
your friend had a crazy week.
Probably not because we're both adults. We both have kids and we don't talk every day, so we might not know exactly why that happened.
So I think my statement stands. I think you guys need to get to know your friends better.
Okay. All right.
Okay, well, Devin, I know we're not friends, so but Say if we was out or something like that, and somebody said something weird that
Uh-huh.
might have sounded weird to you,
Uh-huh.
but didn't sound weird at all to me,
Uh-huh.
and I know exactly where they're going, and I decided to pop off because for whatever reason, you
Okay.
would have no idea why.
Okay, but I think the difference between that is
Neither would Darren.
me and you aren't best friends.
Okay, but neither would Darren.
And
For the sake of argument, neither would Brandon.
I think my
They
statement
would have no
stands.
idea why I did or said what I did.
Okay.
I
It's
just
it's
think
it's
there's
hard to know.
nuance to it.
Yeah, I feel like that too.
It's hard to
Yeah.
know exactly why.
Yeah.
You can have an idea,
Uh-huh.
but like to know exactly why that very moment, that day.
I'm just saying I don't necessarily have an issue with Natalie knowing everything about her friend because she's her best friend. She
Mhm.
knows everything about her friend. And you guys are saying I don't know everything about my
I
friend.
don't know.
And I'm saying maybe
get
you
what you're
guys
saying.
should be
I'm just-
closer.
Yeah, I get it.
What
No,
we're saying is
but-
you're not going to get every reason behind the motivation of what she's doing, and we're just saying, kind of with Natalie, it seems a little bit unrealistic for her to be exactly like Natalie.
I'm thinking about how the human brain works.
Mhm.
Natalie wouldn't even look exactly like Natalie.
Okay, yes.
According
but-
to Riri.
Okay, but that's a
Yeah.
super
Yeah.
nitpick though, because it's a show.
It is a super nitpick,
No,
but like
so you know what I mean?
I
okay.
wasn't saying that, but that translates into her personality too,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Like your brain, even though we've grown up around each other all the time, we know how all of us look. But if you took a snapshot in our brain of how each other's look, it would
You can use the people that's here.
it
The way
would
you
be
looked at
exact-
me is not the same way you looked at Darren and Derek.
Yeah.
I
I
would
can
agree.
promise you that.
And so,
So-
our perception of a person's personality
Mhm.
is also not exact.
Yeah.
Because remember, this is all on
You'd
our
be-
perception.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised how Darren and Derek look to each other. based off their wrong and the same way they look to you. You'd be surprised how they look
Yeah.
to you, like based off just your mind.
Yeah.
You'd be
I will
probably
give
be
you that, and
surprised.
I will
And-
give
and
you
then-
that too.
And then in like some cases too, like you may only like take like the favorable things, or
Mhm.
like in her case, it was like the pain that she had.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So it's just like,
Which is probably why it froze up with the gun. I'm just gonna put that out there.
Well,
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's true.
but you my computer though. My computer don't get scared.
Yeah, I'm gonna need my AI not to. I mean,
You know what I
Riri
mean?
I mean,
did
yeah, the
say that.
computer shouldn't get scared. I
Shouldn't.
agree with that. That one kind of went over my head. I'm like, why? What?
You know what I mean? Like,
Like,
AI
why are
is
you
taking over
freezing?
my life. Last thing I would need to do be like, well, hold on. I want to write this paper. Like, no, I'm gonna need you to do this.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, true. Like that one kind of threw me for
Yeah.
a loop. 'Cause I'm like,
No, my computer's
You're
not
a
getting
computer.
scared.
Mhm.
like you're not Natalie. You're a computer. You have Natalie's likeness, but you're a computer. Just like NBA Live. You look like the basketball players, but you're not them.
Well, last point on that
Mhm.
whole thing before we move on. And well, one, what do you guys think? Let us know in the comments. Do you think if someone made a scan of your best friend or family member from your brain, would they be exactly the way they are? Let us know. But my last point was that is also the way we think of people. Sometimes, like I'm gonna take a parent.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, if mom and dad, if you scan their brain to recreate us, would we be a younger version of ourselves?
Oh, for sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Wait, say that again.
For our parents, if you scan their brain to recreate us,
Mhm.
we would probably be a younger version of ourselves.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Because that's most likely what they.
Because the
think
way I
about
see
when
my
they-
kids, like,
Yeah.
I can't imagine myself seeing my kids as adults, even
Yeah.
when they become adults.
Yeah.
I'm always going to see you as
Yeah.
baby Tristan, baby Lennox,
Yeah.
baby Jace. Like I'm always going to see that. I don't care how old you get.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, for parents looking at their kids, like, yeah, I
Yeah.
can see that.
For sure.
But okay, I wanted to move on and talk about the hood. I've griped about Riri
Mm.
for a long time. But the Hood as the only other person in this show that means anything. Literally every other character in this show is nothing.
What the clown? Come on. Come on. Come on. The clown.
every other person in this show.
Even what was his name? His cousin?
A block of
John.
wood.
Okay,
John
okay.
is in the comics, but they didn't really do John any justice.
Yeah. Yeah. Every other person in the show is a block of wood, and I don't just
Feelings.
I don't. Also, horrible acting from all of them.
All of them.
And then I don't understand, like the brother and sisters. They had an underground fight club, but now they can fight everybody at all times.
You could have fought everybody anyway.
But I'm just saying,
First
it's
of
like
all,
underground fight club. Those
maybe I
skills do
shouldn't
not
say it.
translate. No, those skills do not translate to you being able to beat up everyone all the time.
No.
Right.
Also, I don't know. You should have showed up at Shang-Chi's sister's fight club. She had the fight club.
She had the fight club.
Something to make me
They
think.
would have got rocked.
Yes, they would have.
You know, by Abomination and Wong.
Yeah, like they would have got rocked. Y'all don't have any type of technical skill, nothing. It's all sloppy.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Like, no, but they just rolling up in there, just like them two taking out all these guards.
Dismantling the guard, like it's the security in Chicago this bad.
It must be.
I can get in any club I want to get into then. Because security is that
It
bad.
seemed like it when I was in Chicago.
Right. Like these cats was hustling and
In a
everything.
world with superheroes?
Exactly.
Bruh.
Yeah, like come on.
Exactly.
Like come on, dog. Like y'all
And these are regular folks.
Regular people.
like
with-
y'all
You
low
don't
level,
think these
man.
billionaires can pay some superpowered individual to be there?
Or some
At this point, they don't-
ex
they
Navy
have
SEALs.
to.
You think there ain't no ex Navy SEAls doing security somewhere? Come on now, dog.
Ex-Marine.
Yeah, ex Marines. Like, come on, dog. Ex Special Forces. Come on.
Yeah.
You not about to. You ain't about to do
Usually
that.
that's what they use as bodyguards and security.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. These
So-
undercover cats that got these
All right.
secret skills. Like, bro, you not about to. You ain't about to roll in there. No. Sorry.
So Hood, we don't get a lot of his backstory,
Mm-mm.
but he wants to rip off the rich people
Yeah.
Just like Robin Hood.
for what?
Yeah, the plan, I'm guessing they're going to expound on that later on in the season. But basically, right now, even though I'm sure there's some underlining plan somewhere, is they're robbing the rich, but to get to themselves because they're not giving to the poor. But I assume because they had a list of the 3 companies that they were
Yeah.
going to attack.
Mhm.
I'm assuming there's a bigger reason for all of that. We just don't know.
We've got to know what they did, and they're not mentioning it. So
No.
I'm like, this whole thing, because him as well is acting like I have to do this.
Yeah.
Right? Because John was like, hey, yo, we could just stop. Right?
Yeah, because when they went out the garden people, he's like, we don't have nothing to blackmail this guy with.
Yeah.
And he's like, we're going to do it anyways. And then sure enough, the
They
guy
didn't
was...
have anything. Like he was. Like of course, obviously, like if you kill him, like all right, that's your own emotion that you can't control.
Yeah.
But like now that you killed him,
Now what?
he ain't signing no contracts now.
Yeah, now you definitely ain't got no money.
Yeah, so like what?
Yeah.
What was the point of that?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna need to know what the motivation is. So right now, it makes 0 sense.
Mm-hmm.
Zero that you had to build this crew and all it. What is the motivation here?
I'm
Yeah.
assuming that's coming later.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Hopefully.
I really hope so. Cause now
Yeah.
I'm like mad curious. I'm like, okay, what was
I'm not,
what
believe
was this
me.
about?
We watched these 3 episodes. That is it.
Yeah.
I don't need to see the other 3 or 4 or whatever.
However many more. So
I wanna see them all.
There's that, and that I guess that's my biggest problem with him. I'm like, why are you doing what you're doing?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Also, the plans don't seem to make much sense. The first person they ripped off, which extremely bad idea, tunnels that your cars ride.
Oh my
You know what
gosh!
that is?
Yes.
You know what works better than that?
A train
A train.
that Chicago has plenty of.
Yeah.
Chicago
Yeah.
definitely has a. Yeah.
You know, they
When
keep
they
trying
showed
to,
it, I was like, this.
Well,
It's stupid.
I thought it was like an underground, a highway system until I realized the cars were on tracks, and I was
Yeah.
like, "Well, this is dumb."
It's just a train. A train with one car, by the way.
I'm like,
It's
It's a
efficient.
waste of energy.
I'm like, you know how many tracks we would need?
Yeah. it's funny
Stupid.
because in real life is all these startups and stuff, and people keep trying to solve transportation, and as they move like further and further, and they build up their ideas, you know what it turns into?
Trash.
A train. It turns into a train because trains work to move a lot of people for cheap. It's a train.
Yeah.
Just build trains,
Just
okay?
build trains. Like they're expensive to build, sure, but
Yeah.
they solve your problems.
yeah. Not
But
a tunnel.
How long have trains been around and they're still going?
The
Yeah.
beginning of time.
Yeah.
And then I'm
So
like,
obviously-
First
in
humans got around on the train.
The beginning of time,
Like,
trains has been doing the job.
it's
Obviously,
like in
they're
Asia,
doing
they have like
fine.
those super trains where like they get places.
Man, them trains is lightning fast.
Yeah.
Lightning fast. I couldn't believe that video. I couldn't believe the video when I saw the plane, like how fast the plane moved in
China's
the
got,
air.
Like, maglev, don't they?
I don't know what's in China.
Look,
You've never traveled to China? You've never traveled abroad?
I
we
honestly
traveled
don't
abroad,
want to.
but not to China.
What?
I honestly don't want to.
You don't want really? You don't want to go over there and see what it's like?
I have no desire to be in Asia.
at least-
or
You don't want to
Europe.
go to Japan?
I
Have you
was
seen
like,
what they're
yeah.
doing in Japan?
Yeah, I was.
You
like, I
want to
at
go to
least wanna
Japan? I
to
just think
Japan.
you don't know that
Japan
you want to
seems
go to
pretty
Japan.
cool.
Japan seems pretty dope. I
Yeah.
think you want to go there. You just don't know that yet.
I feel
know I
like
want to
going to
travel
Japan
abroad, and I
it's gonna
don't.
feel like I'm on a whole nother earth. Like I just feel
Yes,
like,
because what they doing over there, bruh, I feel like they doing it right.
Okay, I don't want to be there.
Why?
It doesn't interest me.
Yeah, you ain't gotta go there.
Okay, but all right, we going to Japan one day.
I'm sorry, that was a tangent about how stupid the transportation thing was. But anyhow, how does this work? Because you blackmailed her and like, I want to be on the payroll.
Hmm.
Excuse me, that means all of you guys now have a paper trail.
Yep.
Well, even if it's like you're gonna have a fake name, and someone somewhere's gonna say, "Who are these people and what do they do?"
Yep.
There's no a paper. Why would I say
You leave.
me?
You leave in the clues.
You
at the very
undermarket,
least.
like send me 2 billion in Bitcoin or something. I don't know. Like, why would you go?
Yeah. Now we're all making 6 figures. We're just getting a check
Okay,
every
yeah,
week.
but
Getting a
for, like,
paycheck from the company
For
When
any
you just-
type of criminal, whatever you want to call it, the last thing you want is a paper trail.
That's usually how people get caught when they say,
It is.
"Where's this money going?"
Yeah, like
Yeah.
The last thing you want
Yeah.
is a paper trail.
That's why most of them get caught for like tax evasion.
Right.
Yes,
Any type of trail you start or whatever, that's what they're gonna pick up on, and that's how you get caught. And like you said, it's usually taxes. So
So you get
why
with
would you
tax
want
evasion
that?
by not living a life where the IRS is like, how are you living like this?
Yep.
If you make $30,000 a year,
Yeah, but the thing is, most people who do that, right? If they really made 30,000, all of a sudden I'm sitting on like 6 figures. Most people's not gonna stay
Yep.
and like the rundown house, the
Mhm.
beater or
Well, then
whatever.
pay taxes on it. Guess what? They don't care if what you did was illegal.
They
IRS just
Yeah,
wants the
honestly,
money.
they don't.
Yeah,
They
just
don't.
want the money.
America's about money. Period. If you got the money to give us to back it up or whatever, we don't care what you did.
I mean, like the feds care, but the IRS.
Yeah, I was
don't.
about to say the IRS don't, but
the feds don't really care.
No.
They really don't.
So yeah, that stupid plan.
Mhm.
And then the garden dude again, yeah, like John was telling him, like you don't
Yeah,
have
no
anything
blackmail.
on him. We don't need to do this, but he just has to do it.
Mhm.
And I'm like, why? It doesn't. None of this makes sense.
I would think that there was like something deeper there, but the guy that they were trying to press was not
Like,
pressed.
did these people harm him personally, or like?
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
unclear
Unclear motivation.
on like why they're doing what they're doing. Why these 3 companies is really unclear.
And I don't know if they're going to elaborate on that later or not, but
Yeah.
well,
Especially-
he's dead, so
Yeah. Especially like the guy, like you said, he's like, here, just take the check and you can be on your way. And my thing is, I would have been like, we want more money than this, something. But then you killed him, so now you have 0
Yeah,
than
now-
whatever he
now-
was offering.
yeah,
you.
now that trailer's dead.
Yeah. So-
Literally.
Yeah, so now you're really not getting. Just I don't understand.
Yeah, I don't get that.
Yeah. Okay. So Riri in this scene. First, we got to go back a little bit. All right.
Mhm.
Out of nowhere, because the hood saves her life from the mall cop that had a gun pointed at her.
Yeah.
Was she inside the suit?
She was in the suit.
She was in the suit. So like that guy was
He
going
would
to
have
aim
been
for her face.
fine.
Like she was fine.
Yeah, she would have been fine.
Yeah, like legit, just move.
Like goodness gracious. All right, but he saves her by curving a bullet around her and shooting the security guard. For apparently not killing him or whatever.
Right.
Right.
Like this guy, he would have killed that cop. Like this guy, like what was the purpose of not having him killed when he clearly has no problem with killing people?
Right?
Yeah, it made zero sense.
It made no sense.
But after that, her and Natalie is like, oh no, something's up with that hood. And I'm like, where did you pull that from? How does Riri know something's up with that hood and we've got to find out what it is? Like, she becomes obsessed with figuring out what's up with the hood.
Right.
Because he shot a bullet?
No,
well, I guess it was the simple fact that he curved the bullet.
Exactly. It's
but that could have just
been. It could be his power.
That could be his power. You don't know if he's getting the power from the
comes
hood.
from the hood. Because why else is he wearing that tacky
the power
thing?
comes from the hood. I'm saying, why did that? He curved a bullet around her and saved her life. Why did that spook her? Oh no!
That's true.
Like, I was like,
that's true. He did save her life, so she wouldn't have been intrigued about something's up.
Well,
like she became like, we have to get a piece of the hood to figure it out because, and I'm like, but I don't.
In one way, I agree. To me, it's clear to everyone that his power comes from the hood. That's pretty obvious.
Knows that.
But in the universe that we live in, everyone has powers. Everyone can do anything. You know what I mean? I'm not questioning. Like, now, one of y'all start disappearing on me or whatever. First of all, get out of my house.
Okay, but like his power comes from the hood, but even without the hood on, his body is doing these things.
He's doing weird stuff.
Well,
you know
she didn't see.
No, the one girl had told her about it. Was that before or after?
She started asking.
Oh yeah, because she said
that
she
was
saw him
after the
naked or
fact.
something.
Yeah, but my point was going to be is in this universe, him getting the power from the hood is nothing special because everyone has powers.
Mm-hmm.
And she mentioned that, right?
Yeah. So it's like, to your point is, I'm not going to be like, well, let's figure out what it can do, because if I live in a world where everyone has powers, I'm not really going to question the man who can disappear and curve bullets.
And also, why did at that point it become a problem? Because again, you knew the hood gave him powers. Everyone knew that. All of a sudden, to me, as far as it went, he acted normally up until then, right? I mean, even beyond then, until the garden guy, he acted pretty normal, right? So her all of a sudden switch to go like, oh, there's something weird going on and I've got to find out. I was like, where did that come from?
True.
Yeah, like, why is this a catalyst of me asking questions?
Yeah, a curved bullet does not seem like a good catalyst, especially like you said, Devin. Everybody has power.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I just felt it was weird that she all of a sudden had to do this. But okay. Why did she need a laser?
I'm guessing scissors wouldn't work.
Can that laser work faster? And it stops at the cloth? She didn't cut nothing beyond it?
Hey, look, that's not how
I don't think
lasers
that's
work.
How lasers work.
It's not in this
I don't
universe.
understand why it had to be a laser. I'm like,
because she had to bring it in.
You couldn't snip a piece
I was like,
of it off without him noticing real quick.
Yeah.
Like you sitting there like,
Yeah.
I got it almost there.
Especially
Almost
when
there.
That's
clearly
like
you can get into the room and get it.
Yeah. It's like Devin always wearing her hoodies. Snip at the bottom.
Excuse me.
She's not gonna know.
I'm gonna notice if you cut my hoodie.
Later
when you take the hoodie off.
Later, I'm like, man, that came off easily. I'm like, I think I'm missing some material.
And you just cutting like a snippet. Like we ain't
how big of a piece do you need?
Right,
you just need a snippet of it.
Wait, are you cutting it while I'm wearing it?
Probably.
Yeah.
How are you not gonna notice that?
No way. And don't y'all be trying
Also,
to
that-
do those experiments.
It depends, though. I feel like we
3
could.
weeks from now, she gonna have a hole in her hoodie.
She like, what the? Those dudes actually did it.
All right, and then, all right, there's a lot wrong with this. One, the laser doesn't stop at the hoodie, so everybody in that room would have seen
Dead.
the laser flying back.
Okay, first of all, you
Yep.
said hoodie.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's a
hood.
hoodie. It's got a hood on it.
It does have a hood on it.
Okay,
So technically, it's a hoodie.
technically
It's
you
a
were
cape.
correct.
It's a caped hoodie. I mean, hey, good enough. It's a caped hoodie.
Okay, so they would have both known she was there. She was not
Mhm.
being quiet either.
No.
I need the costume department to do a better job at what was the mesh, the bio
The
bio mesh.
or just the piece of foam they had. I was like, what is that?
I was expecting.
And then she had to hold it on.
Yeah.
Like, why is
Then she had to keep covering her. I'm
I
like,
was
why does
like-
it keep coming uncovered?
I'm like, you didn't think to tape this thing down?
She had to keep going like,
Because sorry, y'all definitely heard that on the thing. Because it was like the room detected, I guess, metal from the laser, but not metal from anything else.
Yeah.
So the mesh would cover that up, but I guess she had to uncover it in order to do her laser
order to
thing.
use
Why? Why
Yeah,
can't
like,
the
why?
laser just shoot from behind the mesh?
right.
That'd have been cool.
Why not?
I don't understand why the mesh wasn't taped down or secure. And then when we were talking about some skin like mesh, I was expecting something spectacular.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
the
some sort of
like the mask they had in Agents of Shield or something like that.
Yeah.
something. Or I was thinking like, you
Well.
know, when people have actual surgery and it's like, oh, we had to put this like mesh thing to
Yeah,
form
when
your
they kept
skull or
mentioning
something.
it, I was like, oh, is this gonna be?
Well, it
some
was a
kind of
prototype. It
cool
was a
thing?
prototype, right?
No, man, it was a piece of like foam.
Foam.
Yeah, just ridiculous. And then, okay, girl, you know you only got a certain amount of time before this room detects you.
Right.
Is it clearly you need to back up, pause, and then do it again?
Yes.
Yes.
So why you just kept on going didn't
Kept
make any
going.
sense. Just stupid.
Inexperience.
Just stupid. Okay.
Yeah, but common sense though. Look, I was a dumb 19-year-old, but still, I wasn't also trying to be a superhero
Also,
either.
how come she couldn't leave the way she came?
Yeah,
I
like
didn't think about that.
yeah, because all the guards goes oh because maybe the hood would have seen her. I guess he could have seen her climbing through the wall too.
Yeah.
I don't know. We already said she was
I don't
dumb.
know. I didn't think about that, but
I did think about that, but then I was thinking, well, maybe because she came in like through the middle of the
Where the
room,
chaos
right?
is happening, have your suit fly at least close to where you are so you can just get in it. I don't know. Whatever. It was dumb.
Mhm.
But anyway, all the rooms are shutting off at this point, and he's pumping in CO2. I don't know how this works. Like, why are we filling the rooms with CO2? It feels like his security system is made to kill people.
Yes.
yeah.
That's
what I figured.
illegal. You can't do that.
He's also rich.
But like, does
Yeah, he is
anyone
rich.
care that it's illegal? No.
All right, so he's murdering anybody that messes with his plans, apparently.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So all the rooms are filling up and filling with CO2, so everyone is gonna suffocate.
Mm-hmm.
So is it any different if you had like armed guards?
That's a good point.
Are you shooting to?
Because at that point, you
maim,
broke
or-
in.
Nope, this has been. If you've seen the Legal Eagle video
Mm-hmm.
about whether booby traps,
Okay. Yes, I saw that one.
yeah, it's not legal.
I-
Armed guards is different. They are there. They have an option not to kill an intruder, and depending on the state that you are in, you cannot just kill the intruder.
So if you're
Some
in Texas,
states-
it's all good.
Yeah. Some
Oh,
states, it's all good. You're here, it's all
Anything's
good.
okay in Texas.
There's no rules in Texas.
Like it's all good here. We got stand your ground laws for some dumb reason. So or was it the castle law?
The castle doctrine. Yeah.
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 So it depends. They're in Chicago.
Like, yeah, but my point is,
Chicago
it's his
doctrine.
island. He can do whatever he want with it.
All right, that was a whole tangent anyway. It didn't matter. Okay, so Riri is running with the piece of the hood still in her hand for some reason.
Yeah.
Don't know why she still has that, but runs into John. like you mentioned before, she does not keep up in this fight. John just kills her.
It's no way.
She's not trained in any
does
way.
right. She has no training.
Yeah, no, I'm just like, John wins this fight in a minute.
If
But
that.
anyway,
Yeah, like, get out of here.
she escapes and she leaves John to suffocate.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Yeah, unnecessary, because you could have took him with you. So I no longer, I like, you know what I mean? That's the point where it's like, I don't feel bad for you. And now at the end, you know, she's panicking and like, oh my God, I'm blah, blah, blah. And I was like, you didn't have to
You're
do
just
this.
a bad person.
Because remember, I feel like you left him behind for self-preservation, right? He's the
Yeah.
only one that knew what's up. If you save him, then he can rat you out.
Yep.
Yeah. But
So
you
you
know
I'm
who-
not gonna lie. I don't feel bad about John dying.
No, I'm not.
That's
no,
not what I'm
not.
saying.
That's what I'm
talking
saying.
about Riri.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
who wouldn't have left? Tony Stark.
It's true.
He would not
Probably
have
not.
left him there to suffocate.
Probably not.
And Tony Stark has killed people, like, you know,
Mhm.
but like
Well, I just feel like at what point is she gonna be the hero that we supposed to be rooting for?
she's not a hero.
So it's
Not at
Batman.
all.
Batman's left people to die.
He has.
I mean, I don't have to
Yes.
save you.
Yeah, I don't have to save you.
Which,
He bounced.
again, but I mean,
The difference is, I think the biggest difference is Batman didn't leave someone to die for self-preservation. Even if we go to Batman Begins
mhm.
and he's in the League of Shadows and stuff, and the person he thinks is Ra's al Ghul, he goes to try and save. Well, no, he went to kill him. Ra's al Ghul is evil, but he still tries to save the actual one.
Mm-hmm.
Right? He wasn't leaving him there to die.
Mhm.
Same thing. Like, it wasn't for. She only did it for self-preservation, right? It wasn't that John was the super evil guy. First of all, you're all doing crime, right?
Yeah.
So it wasn't that he was the super villain that if you let him live, he's just doing a bunch of other stuff. He probably just petty criminal.
Yeah. So that
In the
just-
group that you were part of.
Yeah. So yeah, that just makes you a murderer.
Yeah. You're just a murderer. You did it because he knew you took a piece of the hood. Which, hey, yo, if you got the stuff to back it up, you can fight the hood.
Yeah.
Just fight him.
Especially since he figured it out anyways.
Yeah.
So you.
Well, I guess you don't know that yet.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
my
yeah,
thing is
sure,
like you
yeah.
killed him for no reason, and then my point is like where do we go from here? Like I don't understand what kind of character growth you can give her in the next few episodes
Right.
that's gonna redeem her for letting someone die.
Yeah. Now, I've heard in the comics before this show came out, in the comment sections for a lot of stuff, people mention how Riri was just not a good person and horrible in the first place.
Mhm.
Seems like that is true here. I'm like, for a main character, definitely not rooting for you.
No, especially it's like, are you supposed to be in the Avengers or something?
I hope not.
Spider Man
I
had
hope
somebody
not.
die too, right?
Hmm?
Spider
When?
Man
In the
somebody died
movies
too.
or in the
Like, remember,
comics?
like Tobey Maguire Spider Man.
No, the guy fell. He tripped out the window. He didn't.
Yeah.
He didn't kill him.
You talking about the wrestler guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's always
Did
the
no, he
story
didn't.
with Spider-Man.
What?
Like he never actually killed him. Like the guy always like accidentally dies.
Oh.
It's just yeah.
Because he tripped. He backed up and
Convenient.
tripped over the thing and fell out the window.
Oh, convenient deaths are different.
Yeah. No, I don't
Oh.
see Spider-Man letting somebody
Thankfully,
die.
you're clumsy.
Exactly.
Heroes like Spider-Man is like, they don't let people die when they should. It's like, yo, you
Yeah.
just let that person
Isn't
die.
that Batman's problem? Like,
Yeah.
you know,
I was like,
Batman.
Well,
At
like,
some
the
point-
darker Batman.
well, he doesn't care about the henchmen.
Yeah,
Yeah,
apparently
'cause
not.
he be murking them.
Yeah, I
cats,
mean-
like especially like in
And
Batman
Batman
versus Superman,
Yeah.
I mean,
he was killing them.
paralyzing people for the rest of their lives.
Like,
With the
he-
Joker, I can't.
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, like
Batman Returns. He literally handed the guy the bomb and closed the manhole cover.
He killed him. Definitely killed Batman.
But here's the
But
thing,
he
like,
let
Hey, in
Penguin
Batman v
live.
Superman, he had bullets.
so
he had guns
I mean
on
he
his-
did. But to be clear, I don't necessarily have a problem with my superheroes killing people.
No, I don't,
I don't
either.
either.
But like Wolverine, that guy killed people. I'm all for it.
Okay, Wolverine.
But Wolverine still wouldn't even done this. Wolverine wouldn't have done this.
Yeah, it's to me, it's just the context and the events that's happening around it.
Wolverine would've
For
let
his own preservation, he would have let
I
somebody
think
die.
Wolverine just would have done it.
I mean, he would have killed
He
him.
would've, like,
Yeah, I think
stuff probation or not. He just.
I think that the big difference is the motivation behind it, because everyone
Yeah.
else would own up to what's happening. And like we
Yeah.
said, like Wolverine has no problem. He would have just killed John or whatever. But Wolverine's not going to kill you in order to save himself
Right.
in that
Okay.
kind of context.
I give
so
you
he
that.
would have just killed John.
Well, yeah,
Yes.
he also
Yeah.
wouldn't have been a criminal. So
Well, then he,
He probably wouldn't have. Wolverine's mindset is different. Like, it's
Yeah.
like, I don't need nobody to like me.
True.
Yeah.
It's Wolverine.
yeah, so he wouldn't
Also-
have been in this situation in the first place.
Also,
True.
bub. If you're gonna grab me by the neck, this is your last day.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
So
Deadpool.
shout out to
Yeah,
Wolverine.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, Deadpool.
But we're not pretending that Deadpool's a hero either.
Yeah, that's true. That's the and
He's
that's,
an
that's
anti-hero.
And that's the thing that's
And
really
that's the
getting.
thing.
Yeah.
She's not a hero.
No.
Yeah.
I don't. No,
Maybe
not
she
at
will
all.
be. Maybe she will
She
be.
has no. Well, again, back to my beginning point. What motivation for any of this?
Yeah.
I
And-
hope. I
and then-
really hope she doesn't show up in Avengers.
And then how do we come back from this?
Probably will.
Because I just feel like there's nothing gonna happen to be like, okay, you first of all, you chose to be a criminal for no reason whatsoever,
reason.
for selfish reasons.
Yeah.
You killed a person for selfish reasons, and I'm somehow supposed to be rooting for you. And look, I have no problem with villains, but you have to be a likable villain.
Yeah.
You know, like if I'm going, it's like watching Dexter. Dexter is an awful person.
Yep.
However, I enjoy watching the show.
His motivations are very clear.
I'd be like, man, I hope the cops don't figure out who he is, even though him and his sister are very stupid. But it's like I'm rooting for him, for better or worse. He's not a good guy, but I'm rooting for him. So my thing is, if she's going to be the bad guy, give me a reason to root for her. And I don't have that. And so far, I don't see what her redeeming quality will be in these next few episodes either.
It ain't gonna be none.
And
They're
then,
gonna try and frame it like it is. But
well, it's
Yeah,
like the nonsense they try to do with Wanda. I'm sorry, but Wanda was a villain of that TV show.
We
Yes.
mentioned that that whole thing where they're like,
I like
they'll
Wanda,
never
though.
knew you struck, bruh. No.
Because it's just no. Because in that case, everyone who ever lost a loved one can then turn out and start kidnapping people because their husband died.
I get Wanda gets away because she's Wanda, but like
Yeah.
it shouldn't be like, oh,
You
it's
shouldn't
all
feel sorry
okay.
for her, and it's okay.
It's
She did
all
what
right,
she did.
Wanda. No,
True. True.
Like, no, actually,
Wanda had
I
a
don't know
whole
who's capturing
town.
Wanda. Apparently not.
An
Doctor
entire
Strange.
town held captive,
An
basically,
entire town.
for her own personal.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
but we'll never know that she suffered. Like those people didn't
Yeah.
suffer.
Yeah, they did. Because it was like when she wasn't using them as characters, they was just stuck in limbo.
Yeah.
In the Multiverse of Madness, there were definitely a lot of victims in there.
Yeah, she was just killing people trying to find her fake kids.
Yeah.
All right. So that's the show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So any show facts?
I got some nitpicks.
All right.
All right.
Oh,
Picks
did
away.
y'all mention the fact that she left the little flesh thing there, and that's where we're at.
Oh
Pivoting.
yeah, we
Let's show
forgot.
that. What's that supposed to do? Oh, is it going to lead
It's
back
gonna-
to
It's gonna lead
Stain?
back to
Oh,
her.
we
or
didn't talk
something.
about Joe.
Oh, Joe,
right.
yeah, Joe.
Yeah, we should talk about Joe.
We probably
Obadiah
should, Joe.
Stain's
Yeah,
son.
yeah.
Yeah.
We
No,
probably- we should probably
unnecessary.
talk
I'm not sure if he's real or not, but
He is.
Ezekiel.
okay.
Ezekiel
All right. I was gonna like,
Stain
did we
is
need this
real.
dude to be
about it.
Obadiah
Obadiah and
Stane?
Ezekiel.
Yeah. Hey, they
On
read
the
the Bible.
nose.
There you go.
Very on the nose.
Yeah. So she's getting a lot of her equipment from Obadiah Stane's son, who at the time she didn't know. She thought he was just some underground dude inventing stuff. So a lot of the stuff she's got to finish her suit and stuff is he invented, and he said, "Hey, none of this can come back to me." Of course it won't, but it will because she dropped it and left it behind.
Also, he put a hole in his arm.
Yeah, I was just gonna gloss right
What
on
the heck were
over
you
that
doing, my
because
guy?
his arm was wide.
That thing was
open.
wide open. Like, how did what?
And I
Mm-mm.
was just like, you waited all day for her to show up here? I mean,
Yeah.
first of all, bro,
You just had it wrapped up with a.
you ain't
Nah,
got
that's
no
not
arm.
enough.
No.
Just-
That's not enough.
Nah, not enough.
I'm
It-
like, nah, man.
Nah.
I'm pretty sure that, and she's not a doctor.
Nah.
No, she can't. She can't patch that wound.
No.
You gotta like
You could stick 3
cauterize
fingers
and
That-
stare.
that
Like,
wound.
come on, man.
That
Yeah,
dude
like-
need a skin graft and some extra flesh. Like the doctor would see that and be
Yeah,
like, "Bro, we gonna have
that was
to."
deep,
That's
bruh.
going back
Like,
to, again, costume department.
Yeah.
I think they did a really bad job. That as a prop, I get he was supposed to be doing something in his arm, but that was way too big
Mm-hmm.
for it to be believable, right? Like it just, again, and I think they did a bad job. I'm sorry, and like I gotta mention, even those small departments like that, and I know people work hard or whatever on things, but I think they did a bad job there. You got the foam mesh thing, you got the arm got a giant hole in it. It's not well done.
Nah, because look, a little cut hurts an awful lot.
He used a localized anesthetic.
Like, get out of here. Anything that requires stitches, like, I can take it, but it's not pleasant.
I don't really feel those anymore. Like even this, like,
There
I
was
didn't
no
feel it. And
blood.
You can still
There's
see
no
where the stitches
way.
were.
Yeah,
that was the thing for me. It
There's
was
no blood. Yeah.
There's no way.
Yeah, I just feel
Not
like
that big.
He would be
that's a lot
passed
of
out
blood.
from loss
That's
of
a
blood.
lot of blood.
yeah, his arm was wide open. It
From-
was like to
from
the bone.
So many ways, you should have bled out.
Yeah,
Like how did you stop the bleeding?
clearly not by
How did
nine
you stop the bleeding?
putting pressure on her or adding a tourniquet. Sorry,
No, all he did was wrap it with some ace bandage.
That ain't about to help.
ain't
That's not
doing
enough.
nothing. He got all the
Bruh,
gangrene.
Blood would have sunk
Like,
right through
Yeah,
it.
right through it. That would have been a red ace bandage, and you still be bleeding when she got there. Like, dog, come on.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, nitpicks.
Yes.
So we talked about a lot of these. Let's see what we didn't talk about. I mean, we kind of talked about it, but like, she's like shocked she got expelled or whatever, and I'm like, research project or not, you kind of gotta finish your degree,
You do.
and you just wasn't going to class,
Yeah.
and it's
Also,
MIT.
Selling work to other people.
Super, you can't
Which
do it.
again, why is she doing that if you got the grant?
You have the grant.
She had a grant.
Right.
You had your research project. They're funding it,
Yeah.
but you also have to produce.
Yeah.
You weren't, which again, at questions like you're at MIT and you can't make this thing, but you can make it in your bedroom
Again,
in a day.
Again, the Iron Man suit's not the. Honestly, the suit itself is not the technology that was special from Iron Man. There's
Yeah,
two
the
things.
arc reactor.
One,
Yes.
no one talks about this. The AI that basically controls everything for Tony.
Mm-hmm.
And monitors
That's-
everything.
Yeah. And then the arc reactor.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yes.
what had the whole thing work together.
Yeah.
Anybody can build we're building them
Like,
in
it's
Iron Man
it's
2.
it's
That's what I was
building
about
them
to
now.
say. I was like, Justin Hammer was building them.
There's cats building them now. Like even in our reality.
Yeah.
You can
True.
put together an Iron Man suit, but you can't power it.
Well,
You can't maintain it.
Well, that's the thing you're saying. Like Justin Hammer built it, right? The problem is that they cannot recreate the technology Tony created, which is the arc reactor,
Right.
which is the AI that helps him and assists him through it. No one has been able to recreate that.
Yeah.
The suit's a suit. It's a robot.
Yeah.
It's a suit.
Yeah. And that's what in Iron Man 2 with Ivan, what he was saying, he was like, you don't need to put a human in the suit.
Drone down.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But yeah, even if we're going back that far, what did he recreate? He didn't build an Iron Man suit. The first thing he recreated was the arc reactor because that was the real technology.
True.
But all right,
Yeah. So that whole thing is just dumb.
Mhm.
Okay. So next up, she meets John because she's at the part place buying parts, but she ain't got no money though. And like, girl, you know you ain't had no money. And first of all, you want to charm your way into getting something for free. Be better at it. I would be like, this dude comes out of nowhere, and then hundreds of dollars worth of parts and supplies he pays for,
nope.
and then offer you like, I got a job for you. No.
Nope.
Just absolutely not.
But we already know she's not a good person. So
Just, I mean, already I'd be like, yo, this is sus. Like,
she
absolutely
knew it was.
not.
She knew that they were going to be criminals.
She knew.
It. She knew.
She knew. And also, and this probably should have been first. They keep saying her full name, and I think it's just weird.
Riri Williams.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just like we get it. We know her name. Just
yeah.
stop.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can just call her Riri.
Okay, so when they're in the tunnel, one of the problems that they ran into is that she drops the hard drive that she's supposed to plug into something. Was it just in your hand while you flying around? Like, I don't
True.
understand.
You didn't have like a compartment.
You didn't have like a
She's
compartment to
also
hold it in until you got
a
into
child,
position.
basically.
Yeah,
She's
but
like 19. She
Come
has no
on.
idea what she's getting into.
That's just
There's
dumb.
got to be somewhere you can put it in the suit. Just put it in the suit.
Yeah.
I would think so. Tony Stark would have had like a little compartment or something.
Like, I feel like it's just
in the way in his butt.
just like a little side pocket that opens up when you're ready to use it.
Yeah.
She's like,
Yeah.
oh no, I dropped it. Why is it in your hand?
Because I feel like it would have been difficult to kind of just do that with the suit anyway, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just
Probably.
ugh. Okay, silly.
I'll be back.
Okay. So at some point, I think before we hit the tunnel heist, one of the girls, don't know their names, don't care, steals the hood's hood.
Mm-hmm.
And Riri's all like, I need to figure out what's happening, blah, blah, blah. John
Isn't that
comes
after the
up.
tunnel
No, because the tunnel heist. Oh, yeah, that was after the tunnel heist.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm getting the tunnel heist and the garden mixed up because they were neon lights for both of them.
Yeah.
But regardless, John rolls up and I'm like, what y'all doing? And so then they mad at John because John snatched the hood, slammed the girl, and Riri got in his face like, what you gonna do? And I'm like, girl, you about to get your butt kicked.
Yeah.
And it's like he was out of line. And I'm like, no, you
Right,
were
'cause
out of
you
line.
Still
You
in
broke into the vault. That
You
has the
exactly
hood.
like
Yeah.
I don't understand like this attitude you giving him right now. Like
Right.
he ain't out of line, girl. You are. You snatch up my stuff. I'm snatching you up.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Just I don't understand it. Like I get you got a bad attitude or something, but let's be realistic.
Yeah.
Okay. So we talked about how like the hood killing the garden guy. Now you have no money. Don't understand the point of that.
Mm-hmm.
And then so at some point when I guess that she's starting to have doubts about what she got herself into, she like, are we like Ocean's 11 or The Sopranos? And I'm like, girl, they both criminals, and you're
Yeah.
a criminal.
Yeah.
Like just because one group is likable and they might not kill you, don't make you less of a criminal. Guess what? They're both going to jail for over 20 years. So
Yes.
just saying.
Yeah.
Like your
Also,
sentence is
when
the
you
same.
agreed to join, you didn't know what they were up to anyway. So why
Exactly.
you asking
Right.
that question?
Yeah, first of all, you knew they were up to no good and you jumped my head in. Like, if I really wanted to know, like, how deep this thing was, then I would start asking questions
Yeah.
right away. You didn't
Mhm.
care because you were so interested in the money you can get
Mm-hmm.
at all. And then now you're like, well, are we like the Sopranos? Why? Because they kill people on occasion? It doesn't matter.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
ugh, just ridiculous. But that was my last nitpick. I think we covered quite a bit of it
Yeah.
during our
Yeah.
conversation.
The nitpicks I had was already covered.
Yeah.
All right, so we gonna get to rating.
Yep.
I'm gonna rate this. Just Kill Me First. I don't think it's a very good show at all. I think poorly written, a lot of poor design choices, and especially all of our extra crew members, very bad acting
Mm-hmm.
from them. So overall, unlikable
Mhm.
main character, and also no reason to kind of like root for them, which generally, even if the main character is a criminal, you root for them. Penguin, you rooted for the Penguin.
Yeah.
Yes.
Horrible person, absolutely atrocious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rooted for the Penguin, no.
True.
Right? Riri
What about the
Williams?
Joker?
Nope. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
rooted for the Joker for a little bit. Can't lie.
I don't know if I ever rooted for the Joker.
Really?
That might be.
But like his mindset was like look,
nah.
like look, y'all, you got all this money and everything. It's like you feel like money is everything. It's like no, it's not. We about to start showing y'all that money ain't everything.
No, but he didn't really do it for a good reason though. Just because
Not
he
the greatest
robbed
of
the
reasons.
mafia. Just
But-
that.
But he like exposed the mafia for being as weak as they really are.
Okay, but that's not a redeeming
He was.
quality though, because he was just saying that you're not as powerful as you think you are, and I'm more powerful. And that doesn't
Mhm.
make him likable.
He did get things done though.
Okay.
I'm gonna say no to all of that. Just no.
He got
No,
things
no.
done.
People like Loki, kind of,
Because again, bad guy, likable.
yeah.
Okay, Loki was likable because he was very charismatic.
That matters.
Let's not lie.
That matters.
He was very charismatic.
Well, Riri is neither
Neither.
of those things.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah.
So yeah, it absolutely matters.
Yeah. So yeah,
Okay.
my rating sticks. I think as Kill Me First on this one.
I am giving it pure torture.
Oh wait, which one was which?
Kill Me First is dead last.
Oh, pure torture. Sorry, my bad.
Okay.
All right, I think I was rating it a little bit too harsh. My bad. Pure torture. Pure torture.
Alrighty, Dan.
Yeah, pure torture. It sucks, but like I feel like they had more to work with that they just didn't use, and yeah, it probably pure torture.
My question in watching this is like, why does this show exist?
I don't know. They could have skipped to the next show. What was the next show in line? I don't know. It would have been better.
Armor
than
Wars,
this.
I think.
You know what?
Is this why this show exists?
Yeah.
Because we're gonna see her again. Because we don't.
Yeah, because she's gonna be in Armor Wars.
Is she gonna be in Armor Wars?
We don't need to see her.
gotta be in
again.
Armor
just
Wars.
Rhodey, please.
She's got to be in Armor Wars.
Yeah,
she's got an
Iron Man suit.
Also, there's already another Iron Man.
There is?
War Machine.
Oh,
It is.
I mean, yeah, but
that's a good point.
isn't he on his way out?
Squirrel.
Oh,
Don't. That
You
show doesn't
forgot
exist.
about that part.
Also, he wasn't apparently not a Skrull for that long, and it's still Rhodey.
you know, me and my friend was
Isn't he
talking.
on his way out anyway?
That is true.
And if they're Armor Wars, that means there's got to be a bunch of other people with armor.
We look. Cancel this. Cancel that. We don't need it. Just stop. Honestly, I was surprised it still came out. I was like, oh, we're still doing this? They should have
I
just
am
scrapped it.
surprised that it still
They should
came
have
out.
scrapped it.
They should have scrapped it.
Apparently, they didn't change much about it. This is, again, I mentioned it. Devin had doubts. Thunderbolts was the first thing that was released that was written after the whole COVID and writer strike thing, and it turned out to be good. This was written before it. So I think it still stands. Everything written during that period is trash.
Okay, and my point is, I agree with you. My point is, that is not an excuse.
It's not an excuse.
Because everyone has to do a good job regardless of where you did that job.
No, it's not an excuse.
So I don't want to hear, we wrote it during COVID. So did you lose your writing skills? I don't understand.
I wasn't saying that.
Yeah, because we were sick.
I was saying we should have expected it to be bad because it was written during that time. And apparently
No,
they
I
couldn't
don't.
do
I
anything.
disagree because everyone is required to do a good job regardless.
When they lost all their writers though and stuff though.
The writer's strike, but no, this wasn't
who wrote
written
this?
during the writer's
Maybe
strike.
it was written by no.
It might have been better if it was. No, the writer's strike was what, 2 years ago, a year and a half ago. This would have already been written and in production.
Yeah, because this was supposed to come out a while ago.
Yeah.
And it kept getting pushed back. Shouldn't have come out at
Wonder
all.
Man is the next.
Wonder Man. Okay,
Look.
actually,
Adjustments to it.
Wonder Man.
Honestly,
I want to know what they're doing with that.
I don't. You know why I don't? Because me and my friend was talking, and we were both like, man, you know, like when Disney Plus first dropped, those first couple of shows came out strong, and we all had hopes, right? You had WandaVision, Loki came out strong,
so good.
even Hawkeye. Like you don't even think about the Hawkeye show, but honestly,
But after-
Hawkeye was good.
Yeah, it wasn't bad.
That wasn't terrible. I didn't hate
Yeah. Yeah, it's but you know Hawkeye
But
for
we
whatever
haven't
reason.
had
it.
many
It's
good
Hawkeye
shows.
though. It's like you know.
You forget about him.
Yeah, we haven't had many good
But
shows. The only
after that-
sequels, the only things that were good were sequels.
So
evidently.
after that, nothing. And it's just like, really, I don't know if you guys need to just go back, rewatch the originals, find out why they worked, and you know, just think about this before you just release more stuff. Because
Well, how about Daredevil?
Daredevil right now, the second half will need to really impress me.
Season 2.
I think it. I mean, I think
Yeah.
it was still pretty good. I mean,
Yeah,
if you go-
I
I
especially
still
if-
like Daredevil.
Yeah,
like,
I thought
think it
Daredevil was good.
Just
The good,
If you're
It's not
comparing
bad.
If you're comparing it to the rest of Disney Plus, yeah, man, like,
Yeah,
it's up there with
phenomenal.
WandaVision and Loki.
compared with the rest.
No.
It's pretty
It's not up
phenomenal.
there with WandaVision and Loki?
by default, because everything's been so bad,
Yeah,
or do I think it's as good as those two? Because those are two different things. Because no, it's not as good as those two.
well, I think when we rated it, I think we all agreed that it is. I thought we all agreed that it's not as good as the original
No, it's not.
seasons of Daredevil,
No.
but still good.
Oh well, no.
I rated it to watch while folding clothes. I mean, I'm not saying it's not bad. I'm not saying I didn't want to continue with it. But I mean, overall, I would say it's okay. And even then, think about what they wanted to do with the show. It was going to be very well on the line of Marvel losing their way. And that's what
Yeah.
we say. We're like,
If it wasn't for the actors.
yeah. And we
Yeah.
were like, even like, okay, you mentioned Thunderbolts. Thunderbolts has been one of the better things that came out in quite a while. But think about how much it suffered because we're
Yeah,
tired of this
it did-
trash stuff you're
Yeah,
coming
because
out
it
with.
didn't make as much money.
It didn't make
as it
any
should've.
money.
Yeah.
Because everything has been so bad. And this show is bad. And then you're going to follow up with a continuation with this same character in it? I don't want to see that.
Yeah.
Please
It's
scrap this. This secret
yeah, it's
invasion.
Wonder Man, season 2 of Daredevil, and then Vision Quest.
Yeah, just,
Vision
I don't
Quest
know.
is a continuation of WandaVision, though. So
But that was like 6 years ago.
That is true.
You know what I mean? And that's another thing. We're doing stuff that happened
no,
a very long
technically,
time ago.
Not 6 years because Agatha was a continuation of WandaVision. So now you got to go from when
Yeah.
Agatha came out.
Yeah.
Was he in
And
that?
No, I don't. Probably not.
no,
So then,
but
no.
the introduction of their son.
I don't have.
was
This
in
is
it.
just nonsense, and I am like getting ready to just be out because they're not doing anything to keep
Yeah,
me.
no, these Disney Plus shows are not. They gotta make a change.
Yeah.
If they really want this to survive, because this is not good.
No.
Those are thoughts. Did you give it an actual rating?
Pure torture.
All right. So it's pure torture from 3D Rivals. So let us know what you thought about the show. Did you think it was great? You're wrong if you did, but let us know in the comments below.
Why was her Walkman so old?
Yeah, I don't understand that. He was like, I made you a mixtape and it's a cassette.
Oh,
Oh, you
Walkman
could've
with
just
like the
emailed
old earphones and then
Just,
like,
I was just like, first of
You
all,
could have shared your Spotify.
I
she's
was
not
like,
even old enough.
share.
She's not even old enough. Neither was
have one of
he
those.
to
True.
have a Walkman and a cassette.
Yeah.
True.
like what
See,
are we doing?
Again, writing, because like
It's just why.
guys, people even if you're living in like an urban neighborhood in Chicago, they're not using Walkman.
No.
Did the writers think that it's like, oh, this neighborhood is,
It's
for
poor. They
don't
can
have
only
MP3.
afford the old.
It just doesn't make
or
any sense.
Spotify.
Everyone listens to music on their phone.
Everyone,
You either got Spotify,
everybody,
YouTube Music,
Well, even if he
Apple.
would have handed her
Well,
like
or title. You might
a,
have
a,
title.
a flash drive or something with the music on it or
Or that.
something, he handed her a Walkman.
My kids don't even know what a cassette
First of
tape
all,
is.
where was he getting this cassette from?
Black.
Maybe are cassettes coming back? Is that a thing?
They
Like,
are
maybe
not
cassettes
coming
are
back. Why? I don't
For
know.
what?
Records came back.
If
Yeah, but-
CDs
Because
ain't coming
of
back, then
DJs.
cassettes don't need to be
No,
coming
they
back.
came back because the sound quality is better.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they said it's the number one song.
Also, they last longer than CDs.
Yeah, so the sound quality on the cassette is not great.
No, it's not.
It's probably one of our worst medias.
actually,
Very
it's pretty bad.
staticky.
It's pretty bad.
Well, I don't know. The worst,
Over what?
A
the
track.
record.
No, record
No, the
is
record
number
is the
one.
best.
Is it?
Yes.
Yeah.
With all that staticiness and whatnot in it?
No,
No,
No.
that's
Records-
because it's
That-
something either wrong. It's either a old record. Or
Yeah,
the
it
video is
shouldn't have
bad.
any
Yeah,
static.
they don't.
Oh,
If you
take care
listen
of
to
it.
audio files, the record is the best.
Yep.
Yeah, that's why they still put music on record.
Yeah. Because I heard about it one day and I ended up Googling
Also,
it.
you can make a record
And
out
it
of
said
anything.
record is the number one sound quality.
Yeah.
over a CD?
Yep.
Yes. CDs actually.
Because the
not
CD
that good.
compresses the sound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it said with the CD, the sound is slightly delayed.
It is slightly delayed. Yeah,
Mhm.
okay, yeah. But man,
And
when
then
that sound
easy-
comes
and
in,
easily
though, it's like,
damaged. Honestly,
pretty good.
It is.
And then it degrades as well. Can't degrade grooves
True.
in whatever.
You can't degrade groove?
I mean, you can.
I mean,
but-
you could scratch a record.
I'm about to
Yeah.
say you can't.
But yeah.
But I mean, that's not really degradation, though.
I mean, depending on what you make the record in, it could last for a long time. Yeah, the
Mhm.
plastic one is probably not, but some of them. But anyhow, that was our thoughts on Ironheart. It sucked. Let us know what your thoughts were below, and we will catch you next time.